Hi guys, welcome back to the Casual Watch Review channel. The Rolex GMT, arguably one of the most iconic GMT watches of all time. Released in 1954 for the pilots of the Pan Am Airways, today we are going to look at its most famous colour combination, the red and the blue, or the Pepsi as it's affectionately known. I've got an amazing example from the 1960s of the Rolex GMT Master, and we're going to compare that against the brand new 2018 Rolex GMT Master 2, that all-steel version that was announced at Bezel World. We're going to learn all about these two iconic watches and we're going to compare them together. I was lucky enough to film these two at Bob's Watches. I'm really excited to bring you this review, so let's flip the camera around and get started. This is so cool and I feel incredibly lucky to have these two Rolexes side by side. On the left we have a 1966-1675 GMT Master, and then on the right hand side, needs no introduction, the brand new 2018 steel GMT Master 2. Clearly there's a lot that's happened between these model versions, so let's compare these two Rolex icons together and see how they've evolved over time. And then stick around to the end where I'll be revealing the price of each of these models. I'll reveal which is the most valuable and why. So let's dive into the review. I think it's only fitting to start the review by looking at the original GMT Master. So let's just move this watch out of the way for the time being and we'll look at this one. Here we can see that original Jubilee bracelet. We'll talk a bit more about that later. It has its omnidirectional 24-hour GMT bezel. Still very smooth on this. Unlike the newer Rolex, this case featured a drilled lug design. There is hollow end links on this original Jubilee bracelet. The clasp here is, well, it's got significantly better over time. This is just a stamped metal clasp, as was synonymous with these early Rolex watches. Here we can see that stretch in the Jubilee bracelet. They did kind of stretch over time. However, from doing my research, this is perfectly in keeping with the age. In fact, the bracelet overall is in great condition, as well as the case of the watch, which has been cleaned and polished, but not over polished as we can see. Also, it has an acrylic crystal, which I don't think is original to the watch, but is also in great condition. The dial and the bezel are the standout elements of this watch for me. We can see that gorgeous fat font bezel that has aged organically over time, something that just can't be replicated on modern watches. The blue has faded to a light blue and then the red has gone to almost a peachy pinky colour. This is something that just happens over time. It can't be forced aged to get this similar look. The bezel itself is in great condition, which is surprising considering this is the original bezel and it's one of those aluminium insert bezels. Moving around to the dial, this is one of those glossy gilt dials which had a black lacquer applied to it. Now this did crack and age over time. This is known as either spider webbing or crazing. This dial has some of that lightly, but it is uniform across the dial, which gives it a nice sort of like aged porcelain look. All of the text on here is gilt, so it would have originally had gold leaf applied to it. The lume on the dial and the hands has aged to this creamy yellow colour, and the uniform nature in which it has aged is quite sought after by Rolex collectors. Now the hands are original to the watch, but they have aged more than the lume on the dial itself. On the wrist, it's a very comfortable watch. You can tell that this watch has been well worn and well loved and well looked after over time. I think this watch has definitely converted me to vintage Rolex. There's a charm about it that's unmistakable. Let's just set this watch down here and we will move over to reviewing the GMT Master 2. Here we have that brand new all steel GMT Master 2, the Pepsi as it's affectionately known, arguably the standout watch from 2018's Bezel World. Even though this watch bears many resemblances to its white gold predecessor, this has additional technological advances over that watch. It uses Rolex's new 3285 caliber, which has that parachrome hairspring. This is a specially designed hairspring to resist magnetic field and also shock, meaning it's one of the most accurate movements that Rolex has ever created. This also has the added benefit of having a 70-hour power reserve, so you could easily take it off on a Friday evening, pick it back up on a Monday morning, and it'll still be keeping accurate time without the need to rewind the watch. The case is made from stainless steel, but again, it's that higher grade of steel that Rolex used, that aviation 904L steel of super alloys. The bezel is, of course, one of the Rolex Cerachrome bezels. They make these in-house out of their own blend of ceramic materials. And then the dial itself, we can clearly see those differences between the GMT Master and the GMT Master 2. For a start, we have applied markers and indices on here, surrounded in 18 karat white gold to stop them from tarnishing. We have the GMT hand with its much larger arrowhead on it as well. And this, of course, is a sapphire crystal instead of an acrylic. The case is that oyster steel cased, 40mm with a 20mm lug width. And it has that updated Jubilee bracelet, which, of course, will have no stretch in it whatsoever because this is a solid end links and solid links on this bracelet. The clasp has also received a significant upgrade from the GMT Master. For me, the fit and finish of this Jubilee bracelet is honestly outstanding. I guess you'd expect nothing less from Rolex. I have to be careful here because I might never want to take this watch off. It's extremely comfortable. That Jubilee bracelet adds to the fit. I have a 7.5-inch wrist here. It's certainly bigger than the GMT Master 1, but it wears very well, as you can see here. Here's that safety lock system on the clasp. Again, this is just to stop the bracelet from accidentally coming undone. So I guess in summary, if I had to choose one of these two watches, even though I like the idea of vintage watches, and this is a great example of a GMT Master, I think for my personal taste, I would go with the newer version. I like the larger case size, the bigger crown guards, the bigger crown. I also think this Jubilee bracelet is fantastic, although I would struggle to go on one of these 2-year waiting lists or pay significantly over retail for this watch. Now, I did promise at the end that I would give you an idea of which is the most expensive out of these two watches, and you might have guessed it, it is that original GMT Master, currently for sale for $25,000. It is hard to give a price on the GMT Master 2 because it is so rare. Its retail price is $9,250. But they've been showing up on the pre-owned market between $23,000 to $24,000. Anyway, let's go back to the studio. That was my review of the Rolex GMT Master and the GMT Master 2, but which was your favourite? Let me know in the comments section down below. If this is one of the first of my videos you're watching, I'd really appreciate if you hit that subscribe button and then hit the little bell icon so you're alerted when I upload again. I cover all horology subjects from affordable watches right through to the luxury watches that you saw today. If you want to contact me directly, contact me on any of these social media links or the casualwatchreview@gmail.com. As always, I appreciate you watching, and I will see you next time on the Casual Watch Review channel. Thanks guys, bye.